Cumulative distribution function. As we discussed in the discrete random variable, the concept of cumulative distribution function is not have much use in case of discrete random variable, but yes, in case of continuous random variable it has a very important role. So we would like to discuss this concept again for continuous random variable. Cumulative distribution function of a continuous random variable capital X. This of a continuous random variable X is defined exactly in the similar way as discussed in the discrete random variable. In discrete random variable, what we discussed there, the f of b is my cumulative distribution. Then it is given by probability of capital X less than or equal to b. This is how we discuss in the discrete random variable. In the same way, we are defining this concept in case of a continuous random variable. But only thing is, this calculation of f of b is quite different. In discrete, we are going to add a discrete values of p of x less than or equal to b. Here we are going to go for the integration. So hence, the f of b is given by integration from minus infinity to b f of x dx, where f of x is probability density function. Okay. Now there are few points to remember. The cumulative distribution function of a continuous random variable has a very much importance that we already discussed. The point number 2 is, here we started the integrating from minus infinity because the range of this f of x is not known. Okay, so once you know the range, you can restrict the lower limit to that particular start of the range. Are you clear with this idea? Okay, now we would like to discuss one example. Okay, the example is, let capital X be continuous random variable in the range 0, 1, and the probability density function f of x is equal to c into x square. So find number 1 the value of c, the number 2 the probability of 0.1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 0.9, and third find f of b. So when I say f of b, it means we have to find out cumulative distribution function, or sometimes instead of f of b they will specify find cumulative distribution function. Okay, now here we have to find out the c. Okay, so c is a constant involved here. So this c is called as a normalizing factor. Why it is called normalizing factor? That's very important. See, we have seen one property of the continuous random variable. Integration from minus infinity to plus infinity f of x dx is 1. Okay. Sorry. If I substitute f of x as here cx square dx like this, then this c normalizes f of x so that the value of this integral becomes 1. Of course, here my range is going to be restricted at 0 and 1. Okay, so in the interval 0 and 1, the integration of cx square dx to be 1. We want this integral to be 1. So to get it 1, I am going to normalize this f of x by finding the value of c. That's why c is called as a normalizing factor. So sometimes in the examination you may get a question, x be a continuous random variable, f of x is equal to c x square like this, find a normalizing factor. It becomes a confusion. Why there is a confusion? Normalizing factor is a word. They are not saying find c. But the case is, c is called as a normalizing factor. Just remember this one. Okay. So to find c, we know that. Okay, now I will restrict the range here. Integration from 0 to 1, f of x dx is 1. So this is 0 to 1, cx square dx is equal to 1. So this implies c outside x cube by 3 limits from 0 to 1 is equal to 1. Okay, so that gives c by 3 is equal to 1. This implies c is equal to 3. So the value of our normalizing factor is 3. Okay, now my probability density function becomes f of x is equal to 3x square in the interval 0 and 1. So using this probability density function, I have to find out these two values. Okay, out of that, the second question I am going to leave as an homework for you. I would like to define f of b now. So according to the definition of f of b is equal to probability of x less than or equal to b is equal to. Now see, here I told you have to restrict your lower limit to the range of your f of x. Here range of f of x is 0, 1. So this lower limit restricted to the lower end or say left end of the range. So I restrict it at 0. Yes, upper end or upper limit of the integral is b into f of x dx. So this is integration from 0 to b cx square dx. But the value of c is already we have computed. So this becomes integration from 0 to b 3x square dx. If I integrate this further, I am getting 3x cube upon 3. Limits from 0 to b. So this 3 get cancelled. We get a b cube there. Okay. So now, what will be the f of b? Is it only a b cube? Yes, it is b cube, but it is in the range 0 less than or equal to b less than or equal to 1. What about outside? So my f of b will be a 0 for b less than 0. Okay. And the second is, what happens if b becomes greater than 1? Yes. See, whatever my b cube is there, which will be something like this. Okay. Something like this. So here what I am getting, here the value is 1 because the total area under this. Oh, sorry. I have not explained you the concept of f of x graphically. That's fine right now. I'll explain it with a graphical representation. See, in case of this f of x, what will happen? This is my f of x. Here it is 3. So this is the graph of my probability density function. And the area under this curve is to be 1. But what do you do with the f of b? So my graph is like this up to this 0. Then it is slightly increasing and then it is going to be a constant. Okay. So this is the graph of probability. Your f of b is a probability. Are you getting this? So this value of f of b start increasing from 0 to 1. Okay. And once it reaches to the 1, the area under this curve becomes 1. Sorry, not area under the becomes 1. Not area. This value becomes 1 when it reaches to the particular 1 along the x-axis. This point maps to the 1. That means we are mapping the probabilities along the vertical axis. Okay. So once it crosses the 1, still its value remains 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 like that. So hence when b greater than 1, the value of f of b is 1. So this is what we get a scenario. Once again, I'll repeat this graphical representation. When I plot a probability density function, is just a simply plotting of the given f of x. The area under the curve is our expected probabilities. The total area under the curve is always 1. Along the vertical axis, we are plotting the values of f of x for the values of x. In case of capital F of b or in case of capital F of x, what will happen? We plot probabilities along the vertical axis. So when we are less than 0 here, in that case the value of f of b or f of x is 0, and when it reaches to the 0, it starts increasing in this way. Okay, and when I reaches to the 1, I get the value of f of b to be 1, and after the 1 the value remains constant, that is 1, 1, 1 like this. Okay, so that is the difference here. I hope this idea is clear to now everyone in your this idea is clear in everyone's mind. I would just like to ask you as an homework, we have discussed this problem previously. I am expecting you to calculate the value of f of b in this case and the graph of the f of b, and second, like this you have to define your f of b. Okay, thank you.